I go to primer. I've had a lot to do on it. It looks like I need to put some more super fill on it as well. I'm also going to be priming up my stab or doping up my stab. And let's talk about that. Remember I told you it had a slight bow in it. And how to use dope to your advantage to get any of the warps out. So this has a slight bow in it in this direction. I mean, it's very slight. So if it's bowing this way, most would think, well, we'll dope it on this side. Not the case. You want to dope it on the side that's bowing. You don't want to dope it on this side. You want to dope it on the side that's bowing. And what that does is it relaxes the wood and allows it to straighten out. So we're going to put a coat on this first, and then I'll go to the Mustang and put some dope on it. I have a normally when I mix up clear dope, I mix it up 60-40, and I kind of like just leave it around the shop while I'm doing these projects, you know, and then add thinner as we go. Well, I had a quart can that was filled and it had got thick, so I added some thinner to it, and that was too thin. So I went ahead and I mixed it up in the consistency that I thought was correct, and it had some trash in it. So I took one of my strainers, one of these strainers here, and I strained it into a pint can and added the correct amount of thinner so that I could dope this up. Now, one of the things I'd like to say on these are not my airplanes that I'm doing here. These are a job that I'm doing for somebody. And I really had to, I had to keep going over some stuff, and so that's why it's a little slow. But I'm thinking now with one more coat on the wings here, I'll have a good enough base tomorrow that I can sand it with 320, and then we'll start lightly priming it. I've already been through 3 cases of primer, and I'm on to my 4th. I'm going to go buy another case of primer tomorrow, and that's where we are on that. Now, in tonight's session, not only am I going to prime this up, on some of those airplanes that I'm working on, I have to do some finishing things because I'm going to start clearing here in the next week. As soon as when the weather gets good, I want to have all my projects, four airplanes, 5 airplanes, ready for clear. So that's a coat on one wing, and I'm going to be mixing up some superfill, and we're going to add some superfill to finish up the fillets on this because there's some spots that were missed, and I want to talk about the cheek cowl as well. There's just so much to cover when you do so much in the shop. I mean, I got a ton of things going. It's kind of like a non-stop thing, and with the streaming going, and inviting you guys into my shop, that adds just one more thing. But that's not too bad, because once you get it up and working, it's not very difficult. I'm streaming a little bit faster bit rate. We're trying it tonight. I'm hoping that it's not choppy. I have the computer in the other room. Nothing is running on it except for the open broadcast software. And I keep looking at the YouTube channel and how to grow my channel, and I just, if I could just get it to grow, I think I can get Control Line to grow if you guys will help me. So make sure that if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, that you subscribe to the channel, because I got to get 1,000 subscribers to open that door. 500 for the first door, 1,000 for the next door. And heck, paste this link all over YouTube, all over any of the forums that you might go to, Facebook, Twitter. So we got, well, that dope is strong tonight. I'll be if you'll notice on this stream, tonight I announced it an hour before it started. I'm hoping that will grab some attention to the viewers, because this will be the channel if you want to learn how to build these things and how to finish them, where I can help you in real time. I have never seen anything like it. You can look all over YouTube, and there's a lot of guys building model airplanes, but there ain't nobody offering a live web-based type hangout. And you want to talk to one another, you don't have to ask me a question. Talk to one another in the chat. It doesn't matter. I'd like to know who's on here, who's watching. Is this worth doing? I think the biggest number of viewers I had on at one time was 7. I'd like to get 40 or 50, whatever. I want to make Control Line grow. And the only way I can do it is with everybody's help. And if you only knew how much work it took to do, you'd go, holy moly. So we got another coat on this, on the top side. I will let it dry for a minute and we'll flip it over and do the bottom. Because remember, the bottom has to look as good as the top, because if you don't, it will warp. Trust me, Jim Lynch at the Nationals years ago, I think that was about 09 maybe it was 08 or 09. I have to look at the tag and see when I flew that airplane at the Nationals. Hey Paul, what's up? He told me I confronted him after his appearance judging of my S6B Supermarine. And you gotta know, Jim Lynch is a big guy. I mean, he is a really big guy. And I'm a really small guy. And I went up to him kind of hostile, and I said, what is the meaning behind this and why? You know, I really wanted to know. And it was kind of comical. Anyway, he told me why I got the score that I did. And if you ask him to this day, he goes, he says, oh, what's up, Dane? Um, he says, I wish I would never have taught Robert why he scored so low. Well, I started finishing the bottoms as well as the tops, and the score went up ridiculously. I did it. I did it for weight. I wanted to save some weight, but it sure didn't help the scores any. How's the audio, guys? Can you hear me okay? I see that you're watching, but can you hear me okay? If not, I can boost the audio, or I'll have to get a different mic set up. So we have a coat on one side, much less choppy. That's very good. Yeah, we're streaming. I'm streaming at 30 frames a second now. Remember what I told you about relaxing the top? Well, it's just about there. So instead of flipping it over and putting a coat on this side, I'm going to try to lock this thing up. I'm going to put another coat on the same side and relax it some more. And so I'm using the dope. Good. I'm using the dope to handle any of the twists. Now I could take it downstairs and steam it, but you don't want to steam it till after the tissue's on. Don't ask me why. That comes from old school guys teaching me. So, and believe me, steam does work. And one of these days we'll get a won't be a live feed, but I'll take the video camera down there and we'll set up to show you how to steam. The free flight guys do it all the time. Okay, so we got, well, this is not quite dry enough for me to turn over yet. Feels like it locked this up pretty good though. So tomorrow when I sand it with 320, uh, it should prime out okay. So, audio is perfect, good. So this is basically, oh, we had a issue with the cheek cowl. Now, if you look at a couple of videos back, I was working on this cheek cowl, and I really did a nice job of bringing this finish on one side, nicely, but it worked. So I doped the inside of this, and I've been doping and pulling, and I might have to get it on the oven and steam it because it's still not quite straight, but it's a whole lot better than it was. There should have been some type of supporting rib structure inside here or whatever, but I don't know. I didn't design it. I'm just finishing it. I won't get tissuing my Thunderbolt elevator tonight, but I will have all the dope on it, so tomorrow I can tissue that, and and I thought about this while I was working on it. I'm going to go ahead and get this ready to tissue. I'm going to tissue it. See, that straightened it right out. I'm going to tissue this, and then I'm going to prime this center section here and get it finished, the center section. I'm going to glue the horns on, and I'm going to glue the elevators on, and we'll install it in a glued together state. And there's a couple of reasons for that, even though I can't explain it to you. You'd have to be here to understand why. I want to make sure that I have the edges smooth perfectly. So we'll set that down and let that dry. I'll do the other side of these elevators here. Everybody always asks me about finish. There's a million ways to finish, and they're all good. This is just how I do it. Paul can attest to it. The airplanes that I finish look pretty good when they're done. But it ain't from applying the paint. It's from sanding. So is there anything you guys want to discuss? I can see you guys in the chat room. I mean, it's hard for me to come up with ideas for these videos because, first off, I know how to do all this stuff, and I don't know what anybody wants to see. Guaranteed, if I had some kind of stupid shit on here, I'd have 10,000 members. Because you go on YouTube and see cats meowing or ridiculous stuff, dogs riding skateboards, they got 1,000,000 views and 10 gazillion subscribers. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over here and we're going to get another coat of dope on the bottom. I think that I better take these doors out so I don't glue them in. Well, I've been on the front row a few times, Paul, but I'm not finishing front row airplanes here. I'm just trying to make respectable finishes. And they'll probably be, they would probably be third row, maybe. Whatever 17 points is, 16, 17 pointers when they're done. It takes so much work to do these. When I picked them up last August, end of August, or was it September? September. I said, well, I'll have them done by Christmas. Well, I might have been able to if they were in the same shape. If you look at my Thunderbolt wing, it's ready to paint. It's it's not a lot of work. It's just a matter of how far along they were. I didn't realize it. And there again, I was told, just throw some paint on them. I can't do that. It's not in me. I cannot do that. This thing must have a ton of tip weight in it. Okay, we got them out. Coat the. He's got the elevators and the flaps glued on. Not how I do things, but I gotta go with what I got here. Make do. I've already got in mind what I'm going to do with this. See, I'm building my Thunderbolt, and the Thunderbolt is about the same size, so I'm going to do all the same markings on this airplane that my Thunderbolt will get, which is the stars and bars and invasion stripes and that thing, because I'm going to cut the stencils and it'll be all one file. So it's really killing two birds with one stone, so I don't have to remake the files. Of course, I can tweak it a little bit, like for nose art and things like that. I probably, I thought about checkerboards or something on the nose, but we're going to make a military P-51B. I had to cut off the strake off the rudder on this and reshape it. Did Tom? Yes, Tom built those planes. Those are the ones that I picked up down in Kentucky. If you remember, he had a whole trailer full of airplanes. And that whole trailer is in my garage right now with all those airplanes. So there was 11 airplanes in that trailer. Okay, so I got a coat on the top and a coat on the bottom, and I'm going to set this aside and we're going to work on something else. Time management. All right. I'll come over here to my project here, and we'll put on the coat on the other side. And I'll kind of just, well, what do you mean, wow? Remember all them airplanes, Paul, that were at Kentucky? I'll show you them as soon as I get a coat of dope on this. The ones that I have done. I only have 3 of them done. This is the 4th one. It'll be done about Christmas time. First one I have done is the Genesis. We're going to pull this out because I'm going to have to finish up the ink on the bottom. So we'll probably work on that tonight too, because I got to get these ready for clear. But the Genesis is done. The Formula S, I'm probably going to put some ink on this too, so we might ink this up tonight as well. The Formula S, dust. and the Max B. Now all these airplanes have been on the internet already, but these are the ones I've got done so far for them, and I'm working on the fourth, and I'm going to try to have 4 of them ready for him to pick up. For Christmas. Yeah, I'm going to set this back over where it belongs. It's I got all kind of airplanes here. I mean, I got a lot of airplanes. And then the Genesis here. And I have this one I haven't really even started on. And the reason I haven't started on it is because of the shape. I'm going to have to reshape some things, and I'm going to take this one up and give it to Gary Hayjack to work on, and we'll see if we can't get the 5th one, but I want to get the shape of the canopy right before I give it to Gary. Get this filled in. I think I already fixed the no, I didn't. Need these holes fixed down here. So I just keep working. Keep on plugging along. Yeah, well, that pulled that straight, so that's good. Yep, Vector, that's what that is. Vector. I also have 3 of those Cavaliers out in the garage I need to do, and they're the Cavalier Plus. They're a little bit larger than the original Cavaliers. So, and I got to make those look like John Simpson's. So I probably won't get to those till after the first of the year, and I still have to build a classic airplane for Jerry Hopp. So I got that to build. I got my Thunderbolt to build. I got some airplanes to finish, and around here it's just a non-stop airplane factory type deal, trying to keep the forum up, everybody happy, watching, making sure that nothing goes crazy. As you know, Paul, for some reason with computers it can go crazy and things just die for some reason. So this is basically what's going on in my shop. Post some pictures on the forum of what's going on in your shop. I mean, I'm always willing to see what's going on. Like to see what's going on. So we got that pulled pretty straight. I'm going to go ahead and put some tissue on this one side. It's more or less ready. I think this is long enough. No, this is not long enough. I had a Brodak had sent me, I think, I don't know, they sent me this box of silk span, and I think this is the old K&S stuff. And I have another package of silk span over here that I had left over, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some tissue on that. Might as well. I wasn't gonna do it until tomorrow, but it's ready. You know what? I'm gonna use one of them sheets, and we'll put this in the box. Just as easy. Of course, I have another. Let's see here. That's carbon. I had another roll. I gotta take this box out. I had another roll of tissue. Where did we go? Here it is. This is triple lot. We'll use my triple lot up here. I've had this for years. This stuff is just, everything's so hard to find anymore. I wouldn't give up my triple lot for for just anything. I'm going to use it on projects like what I'm doing here. I have some carbon fiber veil too, but anybody that's used carbon fiber veil and you think that it offers a lot of strength, it really doesn't, because I did a test, and Jap tissue has the most strength. And carbon veil takes twice the dope amount to fill the same amount as silk span. So I'm not sold on carbon veil. Works good as the carbon mat works good in between two pieces of balsa wood as a doubler or something like that, as long as there's epoxy involved with it. And I'm not sure that it's just not the epoxy that's offering the strength. So, end to end. Now, we have a elevator that's bowed this way, so we want to silk span the side that's bowed, and it's not bowed bad, don't get me wrong, but we want to silk span the side so we can relieve the tension, because I'm going to wet it. And yes, I'm going to use my tried and true Windex if I see it here. These moving blankets I buy from Harbor Freight, you can get them on sale, they're about $3 for the smaller moving blanket, and they work good. And it looks like I'm about out of Windex, so we better refill the bottle. And I'm going to have to buy another industrial can of Windex. This lasted about 2 years. Dead air, silence. Tell me what you guys think. Do you want me to continue doing this? Because it ain't like my interviews where I got anybody to interact with. I only have this chat window to see. Yes, please. What? Oh. Yeah, I have no problem sharing the secrets that when I was a kid, I flew with a guy named Tom Warden, Bill Noyes. We lived in Los Angeles. And you could ask those guys the simplest questions, and they would not tell you. Everything was a secret. I went over to Bill Noyes' one time, and he had this, I think it was a 56 or could have been 55 Thunderbird in his driveway, and he was building another chipmunk, a Jim Van Lew chipmunk, and they had a built-up wing at that time. There was no foaming stuff, and those plans were offered from Karstens. And this piece was bowed this direction, so I'm putting on the silk span on the side. It was bowed in this direction, so I'm putting the silk span on the side that's bowed. But back to Bill Noyes. I get over there, and you got to understand, he built airplanes, the Pisces, the Chipmunk, and we all flew with McCoy 40s and Super Tiger 35s and stuff like that. And his airplanes are beautiful, and I couldn't figure out how the heck did he get a nice finish like that. Well, he was using finishing resin on the wood. And couldn't get him to tell me what he was doing, but when I went over to his house, I caught him. And kind of like Tom Warden, and I used to do it. I haven't done it in a while, but there are some painter's tricks from old furniture finishers that if you look into the magazine about Tom Warden's apartment, how there was dope on the ceiling, that's a true story. Sawdust in his drawer, in the dresser drawers, and the way it goes. So what? So, got that done. I guess I might as well go ahead and just tissue this up and let it dry overnight. These are straight here, so it doesn't matter which side I do first. So, a million things going on all at once. So all that's left to do, yep, that's correct. And as soon as it is dry enough for me to cut the silk span away, I'll show you. It'll be laser straight. I can't remember what the name of that. There's something that holds the fiber of the wood together. It's Charlie Reeves and I were talking about it. It's not cilia, but it's a real strange name. And those fibers are released, and it's relaxing that side. It kind of just like the tissue. The tissue doesn't shrink. People think that it shrinks. It doesn't. When you wet the tissue, it relaxes, so it stretches, and then you stretch the wrinkles out, and when it dries, it returns to its normal state. It certainly can't grow. And it's an absolute shame we no longer can get silk span. I'm going to have to go to Jap Tissue and Polyspan. I'm going to make sure that we got this forced down real good. This is a Ted Winterman trick. Weenie Man, if you're watching, I always paid attention to you. He finishes with hobby epoxy, and his airplanes, he has a 700 square, or it crashed, but he had a 700 square inch airplane that weighs 48 ounces, finished with epoxy. Now, how the heck would you do that? Well, just that, he wipes all the paint off of it. I just wanted to make sure that that tissue was stuck down on there. I probably ought to do it to this here too. Because on this one, it's going to get quite a bit of detail on the stabilizer, just like my other one, where it has the red stripes and the checkerboards. No, I couldn't go to Monaco. Not a chance. I know that's a nice thought, but and there's some guys out there that are really good at it. We got one guy in the local area here, Louis Rankin, and I looked at his airplane, and it looked like it was painted. I go, no way. He said, no, it's Monaco. But it looked like it was painted. You couldn't find a seam on it anywhere. And Paul, who's on the chat now, will attest to it. That's that green Nobler. God. And I think he had a one of you guys had a Geomax Junior or whatever that was finished in Monaco. Very nicely done. So if you want to see some Monaco jobs, there's some guys here in the Midwest that are really good at it. Of course, I'm sure that there's a guys. You're in Vegas. My dad's in Las Vegas, Dane, and I come out there and visit once in a while. Joey Matheson will come and pick me up, and we'll drive out to that field. He has a couple of my airplanes. He has a Viper, and he has one of my Thunderbolts. He has Thunderbolt number 1, and I heard that he crashed it, and I'm going to try to repair it or whatever, I don't know. But that's the only one that's left is number 1, so number 4, this will be number 4 for me. Ah, darn. Another shirt bites the dust. Let's see if I can get that off. Get a little thinner on it. Whee! Some nasty stuff there. My stomach will start burning here in a second. I'll have to go change my shirt. We'll have to stop the stream due to technical difficulties. Shit happens. What happened to the one I lost in Memphis? Well, Ted Winterman has the wing. And here's what's left of it. Right here. And it was a heartbreaker to lose this airplane. I still haven't been able to let this go. I guess as soon as I get this one finished, I can take this and glue it to the wall. It's sticking out of the wall like it crashed into the wall. You can do that kind of shit to your own house. I own this house, so nobody can say, hey, you can't do that. Yeah, I can. Okay, we're back to, well, it now bowed a little too far, so, so I really relieved it. It went back the other way now. So I better get some tissue on this side. I'm kind of paying attention to what I'm doing, so I'm not talking too much here. Yeah, go topless. Yeah, right. It'll be fine. Ain't the first time crap like that's happened to me. Okay. Anyway, we put that on the side that was bowed. It was bowed up this way. It's back the other way now. So I've got to hurry up and get it on this side. Definitely went too far. went too far the other way. But that's okay. Even if it stayed that way, it wouldn't bother me because I'd go down and steam it right straight. But anybody that works with this stuff knows that even if I get it perfectly straight tonight, on the very next coat of dope, it could work. And if you get it straight and set it in the sun, it can change. Because this wood is a living thing, and it's not dead yet. I mean, it actually will follow the sun. It sounds like I'm a hippie or something, but just thinking of, I got long hair and I got my long beard. I just mentioned tonight the 60s are over. I think I'm going to give up. I'm going to get a real haircut because I don't have any hair left. I'm going to cut my beard off and join the old men, I guess. I don't know how many guys are on here now. Mark, you still there? Control line guy, Dane. I don't know who all's on there. What would be a better time to do these live streams, do you think? During the day? During the evening? I noticed that a couple of guys that I follow that are doing live streams that I'm kind of modeling this after and have nothing to do with models. They have to do with news, but they're on during the day. But I just don't see how that could possibly work for guys who are modelers, because most guys during the day are at work. What the hell would they be doing on the forum? And I do get a lot of traffic on the forum, but there's a lot of guys on the forum that are not into this technology stuff. And they don't want to play. That's fine too. It was just kind of neat. Paul live streamed from Brodax. I'm live streaming now from up in my shop. I don't have anybody here to interview. I mean, when they do come over, I will interview them on a live stream. So we'll wait a few minutes. I'll cut that free and I'll show you. I'll be right back straight. Look, it's just about straight again now. What are you going to do? This is a good time. Okay. It's we're about an hour into the stream now. You guys want me to keep it up, or you want to let it go, or what? I mean, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for everybody else. I guess we'll run it. I'll run the stream until I get this elevator done. And that way, of course, we did, I did show you that I was working on the P51B, and that's thrown in with the elevator series, but you do get to see that I've completed this elevator, including the tissue, in one day. Well, that's not true. I let it dry overnight. It's only a few hours work, though. Everything that I'm going to do live stream gets saved. I'm going to start a folder, a playlist of live streams. And it's going to be Stunt Hanger, unless you guys have a different, better name for it, but Hanging Out with Stunt Hanger. This is volume 2. That way, if you want to come back and play just live streams, you can go in that folder and get the playlist out and play the live streams. I have more live streams than are posted, but they were all so bad. I think Mark was in on a couple of the first ones that we lost audio. It was choppy, just ridiculous. So I deleted, from public view those, and I'm using them as a learning tool to figure that out. And Paul, if you can figure out better settings for my open broadcast software, I hope you downloaded that. I mean, it is working, but I always want to make things better. I don't want to make things worse. And I made mention of I needed to be 12 years old. Well, guess what? The person who actually figured it out this good so that it's working is a 12-year-old girl. So, you think that's a joke, it's not. Because I sat at that computer in the other room for, a good 5 hours. And, yeah, I got it to work, sorta. And when I first brought it online, I don't know, the video was real choppy, and the audio went haywire at the end. So, didn't have the resources. Don't you have a desktop? I don't know how big that file is. It's our first hour. I was going to take a break, but I'm going to finish up this project. And I feel that the longer I stream these for, the more interest I'll get in them. I mean, if you have watched, if any of you guys have watched the other Thunderbolt stabilizer videos, you'll find where I changed up on my blocks here, and boy am I glad I did. I don't know why this hinging system has been so hard for me to grasp. And I'm always improving it. But it sure was hard for me to figure out. I guess it's because I've never... Okay, good night, Paul. We'll see you later. I guess it's because I've never done it before, you know. I've only been doing this system now for 2 years, that it was hard for me to grasp. And I mean, the first set of hinges I cut were kind of crude. And then after finding somebody who could pin route them for me, that really made it nice. Eric Rule did a real nice job of cutting the originals that I made, my first drawing, my prototype. I'll show you that. Let's see if we can find one here. The originals that I had cut now, Eric Rule cut these for me. These are only 3-ply. That's all he can do with his laser cutter. And they're flat on the end here. Well, that was my first thought, to put these into the elevator and just leave them flat so the trailing edge would turn right at the flat part. And then I came up with the bright idea of making the groove in there, and these would no longer work. I had to have a round, and one of the guys decided, well, I don't have any rounds left. I need to order another batch of rounds. Well, we can cut those out of 7-ply, and we'll make a round head. I said, well, that's good to me. So that's the evolution of the hinges so far. So I'll cut this piece here. Now, you guys, I showed that this thing bowed in one direction, and it got worse because I left it on, but now it's straight as an arrow again. So I use the dope and the covering to my advantage when I'm doing this stuff. And don't get excited, because I mean, nothing can't be that we can't get fixed. So now when I'm gonna, you know, I'm finishing this, we're gonna, because it's straight, we're gonna start coating both sides at the same time. You don't want to do one side then the other. You want to do both sides. So it will be paint this side top and bottom, paint that side top and bottom, and this thing will stay straight. tear that. Kind of did this ass backwards. I did the top first because of the bow. That's alright. You never know. You'll never know it. So now we'll go down and seal down the edges of all this business here. So tomorrow's a P51 day. I'm going to have to work on that P51. The dope should be dry enough that I can sand it with 320 and then start priming it and bringing it up, getting it ready for color. And I need to order another case of primer too, so. So remember, it was bowed like crazy in one direction. I put the silk tissue back on it and it's pulled back the correct way now. It's straight as an arrow. So when in doubt, use the covering and the dope to your advantage. And it doesn't matter which way you set it down on the bench, which side is up. It does not matter. It's going to bow where it's going to bow, and that's just the way it is. So I think the most watch time we've had here is about 4 people. So if you're newly joined us, no, they dropped away. If you newly joined us, make sure you ask questions. They'll be more than happy to answer them. After this is done, I'm done for the evening. I've been model airplaning all day long. I have had it. Okay. And that's it. Now we got one more piece here, and we'll be done with the basic elevator stabilizer. Let's see here. Using silk. Yes, I will use silk. Matter of fact, Ted Winterman I was talking about earlier on his epoxy finishes. That's what he uses, silk. And Ted Winterman can finish lighter than I can. Now, I gotta say this. And I'm sorry, Ted, if you're watching, but it's the way it is. The airplanes are finished lighter than I finished. They are very clean, but they don't look like how mine are finished. They don't have that gloss, that plastic look. They look, I don't know how to explain it. They're just not quite there, if you know what I mean. It looks like epoxy paint. When I was in the Navy, we painted airplanes, F-14s, with epoxy paint. And of course, with an F-14, you don't care how much it weighs. You got horsepower. So, you know, if a gallon of paint went on, so what? Why am I having a hard time with this? They had some massive horsepower. I think they were General Electric motors. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. But they'd hit that zone 5 and off into outer space. You know what? I'm not going to deal with this. I'm just going to put it on and forget it. Cut it when I get it on there. Yeah, as far as the silk goes, if you can find some fine Japanese silk, it's not bad. And we used to cover with nylon and rayon and some other type material. Back in the 60s, we covered combat airplanes with that. I can't remember what it was. You'd have to ask Howard Rush. He would know more about combat than I would. But I just, when I had combat airplanes, I just was, you know, copying whatever the top guys were doing, and they were using nylon, I think. I can't remember. I just know that I'm not a monocoat person. I won't be monocoating. Oh, did you guys see the new ruling on the drones? They skipped us by. It's drone registration. It's not RC airplanes. So that's a good thing. But remember, we can't go to sleep on that. Just because they missed us this time doesn't mean they won't make another run at us. And why I say that is there was a 2012 congressional mandate that stated they could not, the FAA did not have the power to go after the hobby industry. And yet, without congressional oversight or permission, that's exactly what they did. They went after the hobby industry. It does not matter. And the bad thing about that FAA drone registration crap is, okay, it's a law. Everybody has to register their drone. How many outlaws you know that follow the law? the guys that want to break the law or want to do it are going to do it regardless whether there's a law or there's not a law. And I made this statement on the forum, and I even talked to my dad again about it. Back in the early 80s, ASCAP came around and put a $2 tax on all the jute boxes. And that $2 tax, well, my dad says it does not exist anymore because all the jute boxes are over the internet now. So they're charging the premiums right over the internet. But by the time my dad got out of the coin-op business, that $2 tax had turned into a $45 tax or $50 or something. It was ridiculous. So beware of people bearing gifts. You can't afford it. When they said, well, it'll be free. Yeah, it'll be free this year and $10 next year and $100 the next year, and then pretty soon bend over, you're out of business. So I believe nothing of what they say. And I talked to Dave Matheson at the AMA, and I got some confidential emails that I couldn't, pass on or whatever. And I kind of knew, and now it's been released. I just think it's pretty shitty what they try to do to us, and it's all in the name of money. Because any rule they come up with is not going to do a darn thing to stop anybody from doing anything. They don't have the manpower to enforce those kind of stupid rules. So anytime something like that comes up, make sure that you speak out, because if you don't speak out, we could lose our privilege to fly, or whatever you want to call it. It's just like my dad calls me, says they can't fly model airplanes in Las Vegas. Obama's coming today. Who cares? Well, they're worried about terrorists. I'm not worried about terrorists. I am worried about everybody saying, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, I don't know. You're going to get me stirred up on this nonsense that they got going on in this country. It's ridiculous. I just want to go back to how it was when I was a kid. I gotta watch that guy. I can't remember his name. He's a ventriloquist. He's funny as heck. Ahmed the Dare Terrorist. What is your job? To terrorize. Yeah, well, good luck. Okay, I wonder how much this gained by putting the tissue and the dope on it. We know it was at 1.4 when I started, then I built it, and I sheeted it, and I cut it, and it was at 1.4. So it didn't, but it did become a ½ inch instead of 3/8. So that's a good thing. I seriously think that if our guy had some good ½ inch, all this business I went through is not worth it. I think if you had good ½ inch, you'd make it actually heavier. But let's see what we got here. Started at 1.4. We're at 1.4. So sanding and doping. I don't know how I got away with that. How it's had to weigh something. But it is at 1.4 on the scale. It feels real nice. Taking on that, it's starting to take on that finished feel. And tomorrow, when I add the next coat of dope, it should be about ready for finish. Remember what I'm going to do? I'm going to paint this gray in here, and I'm going to glue this all together. And then we'll finish it all together. That way the hinges get painted nicely, and the hinge line and all that. Which I'm doing things, I'm trying different things on this go around than I've done in the past. I can't say whether it's better, I can't say if it's worse, because I haven't done it. But if you don't try something new, you don't know. And I kind of tried quite a few different things that I've picked up along the way on this airplane. The wing is in the corner. It is finished. It's hinged, ready to go. It's a little heavier than I wanted, but the landing gear clips are in it. I forgot what it weighs. It's either 17 or 18 ounces. Let me get it for you. But this is a big wing. I could theoretically put some dope on this tonight. Let's see what it weighs. I think it's 17 or 18 ounces. We could see what our whole airplane's going to weigh. $18 ounces. So we got that at 18. The only problem is I got the motor in this. Yeah, I can't weigh it. Got the motor in this fuselage. But it's real light, and the elevator stabilizer's real light for its size, so this is going to be nice. I haven't really worked on this airplane much. It's been kind of a project to fill in between the paint drying times on my project, painting project. And of course I got the cool pilot. Here's the pilot in case you guys haven't seen it. This is from Aces of Iron. And I think I have a link up there somewhere on the forum. I'll put this up close to the screen to see what it looks like, so you can see what it looks like. I don't know whether it'll focus or not, but there it is. I had to paint him. I got the Christmas gift canopy that I think is the wrong size. It's a little bit big, so I'm either going to have to try to cut it down or go with a 1/12 canopy instead of a 1/6 scale. We only got a couple watching now. I guess we're about done with for the evening. Been streaming 1.5 hours. I want to thank you for joining in. If you guys want me to do this, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, pass to your friends. I got to grow the channel in order for me to make this worthwhile, me doing it. And I'll start doing Around the Hangar every night at 8 o'clock. Well, that's not true. I'm going to have to figure a schedule out because I have my online building class that will resume tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And that's basically a top priority. And we'll get back to work on our Excalibur. So I'm going to I'll announce when I'm going to start doing hanging out with Stunt Hanger. If I do the build along at 8 o'clock, I guess we could do the build the hanging out with Spark at 9 o'clock, 7 or 9. So kind of, you know, you guys are more than welcome. It's either going to be 7 or 9 o'clock at night, 7 or 9. So you guys make up your mind what you want, and I'll do, you know, hanging around the shop with Stunt Hanger. At 7 or 9, I'll do it every night. But I have the building class to do, and I still have to make my videos. So it's going to be a busy schedule. So I see there's some more people that just joined in. You're joining in a little late. We're getting ready to shut her down. I think I'll do this at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. You guys post on the forum either 7 or 9 and let me know. And because I want to make sure that I'm available for you guys, you know, on your time. Because I can either, it doesn't matter to me, 7 or 9. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me this evening for the second issue of kicking around the hangar with Stunt Hanger. And keep your lines tight, and we'll have fair winds, and see ya!